His professional record, 17 wins, 6 losses, fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, Daniel DemiGod Madrid.
Oh, big shot from Madrid.
Madrid knew he hurt him, and he got on him right away. Nice kick of the leg there. Going to work quick.
Big bombs from Madrid. Now takes the back of Chris Harris.
Went for the submission, got his hands grabbed. Let's see what he can do now. Harris better get back up.
Harris in a heap of trouble right now. Cranking the neck is Daniel Madrid.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back. Second episode. We got Daniel Madrid here. He's fighting at Bellator 258. We're super excited for the fight. We're definitely going to be watching it and rooting for you. Thanks for joining us, man. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. So obviously, let's jump right into it. The guy you're fighting, Johnny Eblen, he's a great fighter. I believe he's 7-0, 6th ranked guy in your division. If you end up winning this fight, what do you think's next for you after this?
To be honest, man, I have no idea. I know Bellator's rankings just became official not too long ago, so everything is still fairly new. The way I look at it, Johnny's 3-0 in Bellator. He's had some good fights. He's a tough guy. He's resilient, and it's going to be an exciting fight. When I win this fight, I don't know where that puts me in the rankings. I don't even know where I'm ranked at. I've only had one fight with Bellator, so I mean, we'll just see how it goes, man. I'm just here to have fun, get paid, and go home.
All right, and you're primarily known for your Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but your last fight was all on the feet. And after the fight, you said that you're not just a BJJ guy; you can strike as well. Is there any preference where this fight will end up, on the ground or on the feet?
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure on what his game plan is. Just going off of his last fight, I know he likes to push the pace. He's not super comfortable when he gets hit, so he'll go back to his bread and butter, which is his wrestling and a lot of his ground and pound, which is fine. I've fought the majority of those people my entire career, so I'm used to it. But if he wants to stand and strike, man, I'm happy to oblige him. If he wants to try out some jiu-jitsu, I'm happy to oblige him as well. So either way, it's going to be a good fight wherever it goes. And yeah, man.
All right, so recently we just had Rafion Stotts on, and I asked him a question about Patricio Pitbull, obviously one of the best Bellator guys, arguably of all time. He's been recently calling out some of the UFC guys, Max Holloway, Volkanovski, all those guys. So would you be interested in participating in UFC versus Bellator promotion thing if that does happen?
Absolutely, man. I don't even just the UFC though. Like, I think if you could combine all of the big platforms, ONE FC, Risen, I don't know how you pronounce it. But yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Then that's how you really, how do you figure out like who's the best in the world without doing that? That's the Olympics for MMA fighting.
And to follow up on that, if there something like that did happen, who would you be interested in fighting? Who would be your dream fight?
Oh man, I see. It's weird, man, because like a lot of the people I've looked up to and I've studied and I've mimicked over the years, those guys are long gone. Like they've already retired and seen their days. But some exciting fights for me. Like I love Rob Whittaker. I think his style is just a crazy, just an output of just pressure. He would be a dream matchup. Adesanya is a good matchup. Kevin Gastelum, man, that's another good matchup. These are all great guys. But I think if they were to put me with anybody in any middleweight division in the top tiers, like I'm good. I'd be happy with them.
All right, and your last fight, the guy was significantly smaller than you. He was only 5'8", as it says here. You're 6'3". And this fight, it seems that you have a 1 inch height disadvantage. How does the very drastic height difference in your last two opponents affect the preparation for this fight?
It shouldn't be. I think Johnny's only 6'1", so
yeah.
I still have a 2 inch height advantage. It's very rare for me to see someone taller than me, but I think even the reach advantage, it's only like an inch or 2 inches. So it's pretty typical to what I'm used to. I mean, it's pretty average. I don't know, man. Like I've never really seen a huge advantage fighting the shorter guy or taller guy. I think the last fight against Pat Casey was a big eye opener for me because even on just throwing a single kick, which I'm not a big fan of, and I caught myself doing it a couple times, he was still able to connect, but the majority of them hit my chest. So, I mean, that was the advantage for me in that one. But going forward, like all those mistakes have been cleaned up, and you'll definitely see it come this Friday.
So, like we touched on a bit earlier, Johnny Eblen is currently ranked 6th, I believe, in the new Bellator rankings. If you do beat him in spectacular fashion, would the title shot be something that you're like really pushing for against Gergard? Obviously, he's coming off a big win against Hall of Famer Douglas Lima. So would that be a fight that you'd be trying to get after this win?
In a selfish world, absolutely. But I understand that I'm still new to the organization. I've got to prove myself still. A lot of the first fight was just needing to just make sure I set my stone in here and that I had a footing here. So I think finishing this fight in spectacular fashion will definitely help me. I don't know if it'll put me into the top 10, but it'll at least get me a step closer to where I can start, calling out people to get there.
And just an update on the last question. It says here in the official Bellator preview for the fight, it has you as 6'2" and Johnny is 6'3". So you might need to sort something out with Bellator.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, no, that's I going out. Hey, man, unless he's grown a couple inches, either way, it's not going to matter. But
all right, and my question would be, obviously, Johnny's undefeated. Is there any extra motivation in taking his 0 away from him?
No, I mean, I go into every fight thinking that I'm fighting the toughest guy that I've fought to this date, which theoretically, in this case, it's true. Johnny's a tough competitor, well-rounded, has a great school behind him. And I'm really looking forward to testing my skills against him. I mean, you have an up-and-coming great fighter versus a seasoned veteran, and let's see how it plays out.
So that's kind of what I was going to ask you. You kind of touched on it already. Johnny, do you think he's going to be your toughest competition yet? Obviously, he's the toughest, highest ranked guy you've ever fought, but styles make fights. So do you think he'll be the toughest competitor you've ever had?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have fought some really tough guys in the past, but it's just like I told you a second ago, every time I fight someone new, they are the toughest person that I have fought to this date. Pat Casey was the toughest dude I had fought up until that date. So I'll treat Johnny no different. I have always had my dad put it into me real quick as a youngin that, I don't fear any man, but I don't ever not respect them either.
All right, and I asked this earlier to Rafael, who's the 4th ranked bantamweight in Bellator, and I assume your answer would be pretty similar. But how badly do you want fans back in the arena when you're fighting?
I'm gonna go the complete opposite here. I don't really care. I do enjoy them. The most times that I've ever really enjoyed them is on 2 different occasions. One is anytime that I fight at my home state, just because I love being able to put on a show for my family, friends, and fans. And then fighting across seas, that was probably one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. But here, man, it's whether they're here or not, I don't get pumped up from them. I'm very emotionless when I'm fighting. So I'm straight to the point, man. I have a goal to obtain, and that's it.
All right. So we talked about Pat Casey a little bit ago. In your fight, you did get the win, but it was a split decision. So is there any do you have any desire for a rematch against him, or are you looking past that and looking on to the next thing?
I mean, if Bellator brought it to me, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I know Pat took it on a very, very short notice. Because I had taken that fight on 3.5 weeks notice against Austin originally. And then he ended up having to step up and do it. So, I mean, I appreciate what he did. But again, I'm not opposed to it. Not looking really forward to it because I know he's not a true middleweight. And that's realistically what I'm looking for. I just want to continue to attack the middleweight division and keep climbing up the ranks.
All right, and your most recent loss is to Ian Heinisch, who has had a lot of success over in UFC. He's ranked and everything. What was that experience like? And do you think a win over him, if that ended up being a win, you would be in a situation that he's in now?
Definitely. If I had won that fight, I definitely see a big. It would have been a big leap up for me. I think I would have had that shot at the LFA title, and then against I think with Gabriel Checo, and then you know, who knows from there. But the reality of it is Ian. It's weird, man, because I always go back to that fight. I'm very thankful for that fight because it exposed a lot of the things that I was being really lazy on. And he exposed it and he put me down for it, you know. So I always talk about it to my teammates, to my academy, like, you know, this is the reason why like we have these drills and stuff, you know, so that we don't end up being like me. But because of that fight, like I changed everything, and you know, here we are.
So you talked about like if you won that fight, you guys' positions would be kind of switched right now, or you'd be on like the same fighting the same guys that he was fighting. Are you saying like is UFC like a goal of yours? Like, do you want to compete in the UFC against some of those guys, or are you happy with Bellator and happy with the competition there?
Oh no, man, I'm extremely happy with where I'm at right now. I love that I was able to be given the opportunity to fight for Bellator. They have been nothing but great to me. I earlier on, that was my goal, was to make it to the UFC. I mean, I had done all the steps that I could do. I tried out for the Ultimate Fighter 3 different times. You know, I had made it to the final stages, and it was never in my ticket. It was never in my destiny. You know, like this was here. This is why I'm here. So this is what I'm focused on. Man, I'm old in this game. I'm 37, so to think that I can go bouncing back and forth is not realistic. So right now, like all my energy and all my focus is here, and this is my home, man.
So something I talked about with Stotts is that you know, a lot of like not uneducated, but like newer fans to the sport would think that there is such a big gap in competition between Bellator and UFC. Obviously, former Bellator champion Michael Chandler will be fighting for the UFC title against Charles Oliveira. How do you see that fight playing out?
I think it's going to be an exciting back and forth fight. You have a good mixture of stand up in both fighters. I think Oliveira is going to have a little bit of an upper hand on that, but I think overall, on just like the whole mix up of mixed martial arts, like Chandler's going to, I think, have the upper hand. But either way, it's going to be a really great fight. It's going to be a fast, entertaining fight. But I think for the newer fans coming in, I think Chandler bridged that gap. I think that he was able to show the world, like, you know, whether you're UFC, you're Bellator, whoever, man, like there's great fighters everywhere. It's just organizations pick them up, and that's all it is.
And just a question kind of about your career. Like guys like Kevin Holland, they don't really have title aspirations. They just kind of want to put on entertaining fights, get knockouts, get their paycheck, and leave. Do you also feel like that, or is a title something you really want to accomplish in your career?
If I was able to end on a title, that would be fantastic. But right now, I don't look for the future that far ahead. I'm focused on the here and the now. This Friday is what all of my attention and all of my energy is going towards. Once I get past this, then we'll figure it out.
So, you know, we talked about maybe you rematching with Pat Casey. Is Ian Heinisch, is that rematch something that you'd like? Obviously, like we said earlier, he's now a ranked UFC fighter. If you end up beating Johnny, and you guys, like, there is a UFC Bellator cross promotion thing, is that the guy that you'd want?
He's one of the guys I wouldn't mind. There's no one in particular that I want. I think just that opportunity, I would love to be a part of it. That's set in stone. Like putting your name on just a forever tablet. You know, like you got to be a part of something that was just game changing. You know, so that's, yeah.
And one final question for me. We asked Rafion earlier. His only loss is to Merab Dvalishvili, who fought on Friday, and it said that it really ate away at him. He really hate to lose like that. It was a spinning back fist less than a minute in, and he really, really wanted that fight back. Just in general, how much do losses eat at you, and how badly do you want to avenge them?
I think if you're a true athlete, like to the core, like that's what you've done your entire life, it's going to eat the shit out you. For me, I learned it earlier on with baseball. Like I would take a loss really hard, and then I would come back a few days later, and you'd see me out there training just to make sure that didn't happen again. Fighting earlier on in my career, I did that a lot. I would get super upset. I'd be really emotional, and I mean, it's just a learning curve, man. And as you get older, you start to understand, like, all right, like let's separate that, and let's take away from the learning experience. Like, what can I do better the next time? And you just keep growing as an athlete, and then just essentially as an adult, as a veteran. So no, man, every loss that I get, that I've had, I've taken away something from it. If not one thing, multiple things, and continuously just look to improve on them, and just continuously look to show the better fighter that I'm becoming.
Right. So you said earlier, you're a veteran in the game. You're 37, I believe you said. Obviously nowadays, there's like a new social media age of fighting, with the boxing matches and stuff like that. And one of the more outgoing personalities in that is Bellator welterweight Dylan Dennis. Bellator is known for doing catch weights a bit more than the UFC is. So would a fight with Dylan Dennis be of any interest to you?
Honestly, man, no. I think he's good at what he does, which is hyping up the social media platforms. I think every athlete's different in that case, Unfortunately, it's just not who I am. I don't think I'd be a good draw. I wouldn't be able to promote it like he would against somebody else, like, for instance, Jake Paul. I think those two are like a match made in heaven for social media, and let them do that.
All right, and our last question is, how do you see this fight playing out, you versus Johnny?
I see it as two grown men looking to go into a cage and beat the shit out of each other, is how I see it. I don't see it going in one direction or another. I would love it if he decides to stand with me the whole time. That would be phenomenal. Or if he wants to go to the ground, I'm okay with that as well. So either way, I'm looking forward to the fight regardless.
All right, man. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Definitely. Nathan and Jack, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. You guys have a great day.
Right, Daniel Madrid, Bellator 258 coming up soon. Make sure to tune in. All right. Thank you, man.
Anytime, brother.